something that always drives our behavior. We call it fears. To explain what fear is, we need to go back in history. With simple examples. So now we have phones like this. Do you remember what phone you had 10 years ago? If you go back to 20 years ago, if you go back to the beginning of last century, and then if you go back in history in 17th century, and if you go back in history even more, let's go back to biblical times or pre-biblical times when people lived in really harsh environment. Everything was hard to survive. They didn't have internet or phone or anything like that. So the life was really, really hard. And living in the group was very important for them. That's why Bible says that the biggest punishment in that time was banishment from the group, because it meant slow and painful death. Nobody could survive by himself. People could survive only as a group. Everyone in the group had specific role. We had the place in the group, we had the role in the group. For example, gathering fruits, men were hunting. So everybody did different job. Somebody was taking care of children. And somebody was a chief who would make decisions and everybody would listen. So everybody played the role. The deepest fear that exists in every one of us, it's a fear of losing the group. So it drives all of us because it's embedded in our subconscious mind. We developed like this. We needed group to survive. Even thought about being banished from the group was causing your heart beat faster. You have whole signs of stress if you just think about being alone. So that's the deepest fear that exists in all of us. But it shows up differently in different triads in our personality types. In triad of emotion, it shows up as a fear of loneliness. So people from this triad, they're always afraid to be alone. And they're trying to do something to compensate for this loneliness. So for example, 2 will help others. They love helping others because they think since they help others, others will keep them as a member of the group. Type 3, they also afraid to be alone, but what they do, they create situation when they can keep some position. They fight for status. In modern society, it's career. We say that type 3 is very career-oriented. They want to have specific status within the group, so they will be important for others. And type 4, they also want not to be alone, but they decide to take place in the group. They take the stage. They want to be so unique, so interesting that everybody wants to look at them. That's famous actors and actresses. They want to be so important for everybody else, be admired, to be loved. That's what they do. But they do it because they're also afraid of being alone. But for type 5, they need to observe you, and they need to see all details. They feel in control. They feel in control because they know. For type 6, they want to be in control because they're afraid that they don't know something. They always doubt something. They want to be sure that everything is like they want. So they afraid to lose control because they want to have everything described from A to Z. For 7, it's different strategy. So they don't want to lose control, but what they do, they find different people, like hundreds of people. So if one person says, no, I'm not going to work with you, they just leave this person and they find another person from hundreds, so they find somebody else. They go through people, they change them very fast. They move from a person to a person, but they still in control because they know what they want. That's how the fear of losing control shows up in real life. If you in your life you have situation that repeats over and over and over again, at work, in personal relationships or business, anywhere, that means that this situation is driven by some kind of fear. So you have to analyze what's happening, because fears create problems, especially in personal relationships. And any relationship problem comes back to fears. So that's what you have to resolve. You have to resolve fears.